One time I made muffins for a brunch and it was a new recipe. I misread the time in the oven, and by the time I got back to those muffins, they were just burnt hockey pucks. Not good.
I'm Mara from Joyful Hostess, and join me as I share with you some of the mistakes that I made when I started hosting, what I've learned along the way, so that we can speed up your learning curve and help get you more confident hosting.
You can learn the things that I wish someone had told me about being a good hostess. So, whether you're a seasoned pro looking for some new ideas or you're new to hosting altogether, you are in the right place, my friends. I share recipes, tips, ideas, and advice every Friday. There's a new video that goes out, so be sure you hit subscribe so that you don't miss anything. Are you ready to hear the mistakes that I made? Because I'm ready to share them. After all, we're all friends, right? When it comes to learning a new skill, we all have to start somewhere. And the same thing goes with hosting. So growing up, my family was constantly hosting gatherings. And that meant that we celebrated everything. So from birthdays to anniversaries to baby showers, Canada Day, Labor Day, we always had an excuse to get together with friends and families. So when I got older, I wanted to continue those traditions in my own household. But helping my mom and my nana, my grandma, with hosting parties is not the same thing as hosting it yourself. I had a lot to learn, and boy, did I learn. So, mistake number one was thinking I had to do everything myself. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Like the cleaning, the prep, the shopping, the recipes, like all of it myself. And I guess that's because that's how my mom and my nana did it, so I felt like that's how I had to do it. So when guests would offer and say, "Can I bring something?" I would say, "Nope, I got it." Or guests maybe would be offering to help me clean up. "Nope, go sit down, I got it." When secretly I wanted to say yes to these things. And so the result of that was that I became really overwhelmed with all the things that I had to do. And then when my poor husband tried to help, he would get the same sort of reaction where I might give him a couple of things to do, but really the bulk of it fell on me because, let's face it, I could do it better, I could do it faster, and with less questions, right? I didn't have to hear him say, "Where does this go? What do you want me to do next? Why are we cleaning that?" And I really brought that on to myself. And what I learned the hard way is that doing everything yourself is actually not easier. It's far more beneficial to you and your mindset if you can accept help graciously from those around you who are willing to help. There's nothing wrong with that. Doing it all myself really bleeds into this next mistake, and that is making everything from scratch. I don't know where I got this idea that I had to make everything from scratch because, like, buying something pre-made, what kind of host would do that? I would also find myself DIYing my own decorations, like all of them, because somehow it would be better and I would save money if I did it myself. The truth is, doing it all myself and making everything from scratch really did not do me any favors. It left me feeling frazzled, it left me feeling exhausted, and sometimes it didn't even save the money that I thought it was going to save. So having this kind of thinking just left me feeling exhausted, so that by the time guests showed up, instead of being elated, which I was elated, I was just super exhausted. So now I do not subscribe to the idea that a hostess has to make everything from scratch and they have to do it all themselves. So what I do now is I find ways to outsource. So that may look like I mentioned before, if a friend suggests they want to bring appetizers or wine or something, then I say, yes, I graciously accept that. Or perhaps I buy things that are ready-made. Or maybe I don't make the dessert from scratch myself, I actually order it from my favorite bakery. So in this way, it saves me the stress, it saves me the time, and a lot of times it saves money too, because I'm not buying all these ingredients that I just need to make maybe one thing. Okay, truth time. Another thing I used to do was before guests came over, I would clean the entire house. Yes, the entire house, even ridiculous things that I know guests wouldn't notice, but I would notice. So here I am cleaning the baseboards and cleaning on top of the fridge and cleaning the laundry room just in case. Like, I don't know what I expected guests to do or what they're going to look at, because your guests are not looking at those things. So, on top of all the other things I had to do to get ready for a party, adding cleaning the whole house to the list really created, this kind of stressful situation. So, here's what I learned. I'm going to pass this on to you. Guests do not give a bleep. I was going to say something else. Guests do not give a bleep about how clean your baseboards are or whether your light fixtures are clean. They don't. They're there to spend time with you. And they're not even looking at those things. And I will tell you this, if somebody is looking at those things, I can guarantee you that they are likely not your ideal guest. And they're probably not somebody that you want to spend a whole lot of time with. So now, instead of cleaning the whole house, what I do is spend the time focused on cleaning the areas where my guests will be. That is where my time and energy is best served, and it just leaves me extra time to do other important things. Another mistake that I would make is that when we had people over, that was an opportunity to test a new and sometimes elaborate recipe. Now, that's always a huge gamble because it can potentially have the payoff of really wowing guests, and maybe you're finding a new favorite recipe. Or it also has the potential to be disastrous and not work out at all how you planned. And I've had my share of failures in trying out these new elaborate recipes. One time I made muffins for a brunch, and it was a new recipe. I misread the time in the oven, and by the time I got back to those muffins, they were just burnt hockey pucks. Not good. So, what I've learned here is that it's okay to try out a new recipe when guests come over. It really is. But I have a few guidelines that I've created for myself, and hopefully this will help you too if you want to, bust out a new recipe when you're having people over. So number one is that I try to keep it simple. So sometimes doing a simple recipe really well is way better than doing an elaborate recipe that's sort of half-ass. The second thing is if I do want to try an elaborate recipe, what I'll do is make the rest of the meal really simple. The other point is that you've got to know when to pick your timing. So you've got to know what occasion and which guests you can actually try out new recipes on. Some guests will be more receptive to that and others just won't. And the last tip I'll give you is that if you are going to try a new recipe, you have to be ready to, if it does fail, you have to be ready to just shake it off and laugh it off and chalk that one up to like a failure you're going to try again or a failure you're just completely going to give up. So going back, remember I told you about those burnt muffins? So we still laugh about that when we think about those muffins, because what we ended up doing was taking them out to the driveway and shooting slap shots with them. So we just made it something really fun. Another thing I used to do is plan a renovation or some kind of makeover just in time for a big event. Like, yes, let's repaint the whole house before Christmas. Great idea. And these big projects only added to the huge list of things that I had to do. Why do we do this? I'm sure I can't be the only one. Let me know in the comments below, have you ever fallen into this trap where you've decided that you're going to plan this renovation just before a big event? Why do we put this pressure on ourselves? Why? I think I know why. A couple of reasons. One, somehow when you have the pressure of a deadline, things tend to get done. So if this is a project you've been thinking about for a while, or maybe it's something you've been chipping away at a little bit at a time, having an event kind of creates this urgency. And we all know that when you're under the gun, things get done. The other thing is that, we want to impress our guests. We want to have a lovely place to spend time. And maybe it's a project that directly affects your guests. So it makes sense, right? If you're having guests stay for the weekend, you're going to want to make sure that a guest bedroom, let's say, is done, or that second bathroom gets finished. So it's not one that I've overcome entirely, but it's definitely one that I've learned to roll with the punches a little bit more, and I've kind of become more relaxed. Another mistake is not leaving enough time for myself to get ready. So I hate feeling like I'm rushed and getting ready. Like I've been just scrubbing the floors and now guests are going to be here 15 minutes from now. And, I'm not ready. I don't know what I'm going to wear or that kind of thing. So what I've learned is to make time because after all, when I feel good, then I'm a little bit more relaxed and I feel like I'm in a better space to entertain guests. And one of the last mistakes, well, I'm sure it's not the last mistake, but the last mistake I can think of, is that I used to think I could only host something if I had weeks in advance to plan. And no wonder, because I was doing all the things and making everything from scratch. So I had this feeling that if I couldn't make it perfect, if I didn't have the time to make it perfect, then it just wasn't worth doing at all. And that's not true. I've learned that last minute get togethers are awesome. They're just so awesome because it takes the pressure off. It takes off, any sort of expectations. And instead, you're just focused on spending time together instead of like all the other stuff that makes us sometimes crazy. If you're new to hosting, give this a try. It might be a great way to just kind of start off hosting is try something last minute. So even if that just means, you're ordering pizza, you want to have people over for pizza and a glass of wine, or you're going to whip up a batch of chili and say like, hey guys, come on over. We made this big batch of chili, come on over. There's lots of ways that you can make these last minute get-togethers just as memorable as something that takes weeks to plan. So what I've learned in my years of hosting that's different now than it used to be before is that I tend to worry less about perfection and I worry more about creating connection. And that's really the model here at Joyful Hostess. That's what we do. In the end, people won't really remember the things that you did, but they will remember how you made them feel. And hosting is all about making your guests feel welcome. It's about making your guests feel special. And I want my guests to feel that way. There you have it. Hopefully by sharing with you the mistakes that I made, the idea that I had to do everything by myself, that I had to make everything from scratch, that I had to clean the house from top to bottom, that I needed weeks to plan, that I didn't give myself enough time to get ready. Hopefully you avoid these traps and instead focus on bringing the joy back to hosting, focus on spending the time and gathering with people that are important to you and making them feel special. Cheers, my friends. May all your hours be happy ones and happy hosting.